Let's clap it in. Today we're going to play with AI, specifically Adobe Firefly, coupled with Photoshop, and we're going to have a good time just figuring out how it works and how to make a character. And I'm going to show you everything I've figured out so far. So, open up your Adobe Creative Cloud, go to Adobe Firefly, open up that bad boy. I got my coffee, I'm ready to go, guys. Click on Adobe Firefly. Adobe Firefly is excellent for creating characters. We're gonna go over here to text to image, I think. Start there. Click on text to image. Okay, now let's get crazy. Let's do another animal character. I've been on badgers lately, but now I want to try my favorite animal, the dog. Okay, let's do, this is a cartoon dog character with a mustache and beard. He is kind, friendly, outgoing, smart, has glasses, and has an impressive physique. Okay, let's click generate. See what Adobe Firefly does for us here. Got my coffee. That's way too generic. I don't like it. I don't like that at all. Let's just refresh it. Oops, I've got it on the wrong aspect ratio. No, those are terrible. Okay, first of all, let's fix the aspect ratio over here on the right-hand side. Click on that, change it to landscape if you're doing stuff for a YouTube video like I am. We're gonna make a character specifically for animation. We're gonna animate this later in Premiere Pro. Probably not in this video, but we'll get to it. Okay, these are very generic. These are horrible. Here's one important part I missed with my prompt. The prompt should be very specific. The more specific the better. This is a cartoon dog character. Cartoon dog, let's do dog/man. Character with a mustache and beard. He is friendly, outgoing, smart, an impressive physique. And then in parentheses, he might be a superhero. Let's see how that one does. Generate. I've still got about 700 credits, I think. So we've got plenty. Okay, these are just not good. There's usually at least something a little bit quirky about them, but these are all just very generic. Okay, let's crank up the visual intensity to maximum, put it on all. For the effects in the bottom right-hand corner, you can choose the style you want, but I just usually do all, because then it just gives you like a pick and choose variety thing. Okay, let's see what we get this time. Hopefully it's, okay, these are a little bit less generic. We're getting there. Okay, it was the visual intensity. So remember to keep your visual intensity up, otherwise it becomes a little generic. I like this one or this one. Even this one's good. Wait, let's make him into a Lhasa Apso. Let's make sure he's a Lhasa Apso. Lhasa Apso. This is a cartoon Lhasa Apso / man character with a mustache and beard, friendly, kind, smart, outgoing, glasses, and impressive physique. Might be a superhero. We'll see if we can make my old dog, old Dolly was his name. He was a Lhasa Apso. So we'll see if we can, oh, yes. 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 Oh, the red glasses. Oh my God, these are all so good. These are all so good. Oh, but the bottom right one looks super smart. Shoot, it's gonna be hard to choose. You don't really have to choose. You can save all of them if you want. I'm gonna choose the one with the closed mouth since we're gonna animate him later, but I like the red glasses on this one. Dang. This is a rough one. Oh, but the cape on this one, oh God. The cape and the cape. Now the blue glasses one. This is so hard, you guys. I'm gonna go with the bottom right one just for practical purposes. The one you want, click, highlight more options in the top right-hand corner, left click that, and then go down to download, left click that. It's gonna give you this little prompt thing here. Left click continue, and it'll download into your whatever location you use. Here's a hot tip for you. I make all of my download locations be the same folder. Every Premiere Pro project I save, every Photoshop thing I save, every download, that all goes into the same folder. It keeps it much more organized. We got it downloaded, Adobe Firefly. Let's go over to Photoshop. We're gonna left click on Photoshop, open that up, and we're gonna pull in our beautiful little Lhasa Apso dog. Maybe I should do this live. It'd be more fun if I could get an idea from you and then use that. Okay, so we're opening up Photoshop here. On the left side, you'll see new file, left click new file. And since I'm making this for a YouTube video, we're gonna go 1920 by 1080 for the project size. So here we go. That's click on 1920 by 1080, click create. And here's how I like to do it. You don't have to do it this way, but I go down to File, Open, and then you can choose off of your computer. Here he is. Here's my little guy. Double click that to bring him in. That'll bring him into his own little window. So down here on the right-hand side in the spot where it says background, we're going to left click that and pull it up into the project that we just created and plop it down there. So you see it's too big, so we're going to left click on the move tool. We're going to hold shift to maintain ratio, hold shift and pull this arrow down till it's roughly the right size. Okay, and then it just kind of snaps if you've got snapping turned on. So then we move him until he lines up with the crosshairs. Okay, it looks like we don't have the contextual taskbar here. So if you don't have the contextual taskbar, it's easy to fix. We're about to, by the way, go into generative fills. So go to Window, down all the way down, almost to the bottom, to contextual taskbar. Oops, I guess it was open. I just turned it off. So Window, all the way down to the bottom here, almost at the bottom. Left click that. And this is your contextual taskbar right here. Okay, so let's make a selection because we're going to, actually, you know what? First things first, just so we don't lose quality when we resize this beautiful little lasso opso, right click on your layer, go to Convert to Smart Object. Now when you reduce the size of it, it won't lose quality. Again, we're going to maintain the ratios by clicking on Shift, and we're going to make him a little bit smaller because we want to fill in the rest of his little body. And so we've now got him reduced to about 2/3 of the height he was before. So I would like to fill in his feet or his paws. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to, let's go to the rectangular marquee tool, and we're going to draw where we think the rest of his body should be, roughly right there. You see a little pulse in your contextual taskbar right there up above. Now to make generative fill know the area we'd like to work with, we make a selection and then we click on generative fill. That locks it in. Now it knows it's working with this area right here. So now we're just going to see if generative fill can do its job without any prompt whatsoever by clicking generate. Usually it already knows what to do when you click on it. It already knows that you probably want to just kind of fill in that area that you just selected. So let's see if it does a good job or not. I don't know if it will. It's dicey sometimes. Okay. 3 choices here. You see over here on the right hand side, you've got 3 choices. So let's see what this one is. That's the first choice. Oof, that one's gross. You look at his pretty little paws on this one, and then those look terrible. I don't even know what those are. No. Okay, let's Control Z. We just Control Z'd out of that, and we're gonna do the same thing again. Generative fill, so it knows the area it's working with, and we're gonna click generate. I wonder if I should have made this selection a little bigger. Let's see what we got for our little buddy here. Little Dolly was his name. Okay, we're getting there. So you've got your 3 variations here on the right-hand side. This one is a little bit too happy, maybe. He looks brave in that one, okay. But I want him standing in a more neutral position since we're going to animate this later on. I don't like how he can't see his feet. Let's go with this one. Yeah, let's go with this one. So here's where it starts to get a little bit confusing for generative fill, and you have to make it very, very, very clear what you'd like to do. Okay, so once you've got 2 things that you like, or 3 or 4, once you've got those locked in, you have to merge the layers. If you don't merge the layers and you keep working, generative fill will start incorporating stuff from invisible layers and stuff you were working on before. It gets really weird. So now we've got feet that we like, we've got a body that we like. We need to merge these layers before we do anything else. So click on your generative fill layer and then hold shift to add to the selection. Then click on your main project of the character. And then we're gonna right click and then we're gonna go to merge layers. That's down there. So now check it out. When we make the layer invisible, the whole thing disappears. So now we know that all of these layers are smashed as if the layers below no longer exist. You don't want to do merge visible in case you make a mistake. Later on, you might not be able to get back to it. In fact, let's duplicate this merged layer that we just made. Let's duplicate it in case we mess up later on. So we're going to right click, duplicate layer. This is going to come up okay, let's just call it copy 1, Click OK. And then let's just duplicate it again, because who knows how many times we're going to have to do this. Duplicate 2. I don't know what I called the other one. My iPhone ran out of storage, so I had to reset everything. But let's change his feet. I don't like his feet. Okay, we're going to go to the lasso tool over on the left-hand side here. So let's just grab this area right here, and let's just hit Generative Fill. Let's see if Generative Fill can figure out what's going on its own. Delicious iced coffee. What would you name him? Leave a comment. Leave a comment in the comments. Terrible, terrible. Ooh, that's good. Now that we've got two things that we want, let's merge the layers so nothing gets confused. Boom, boom, right click, up to merge layers. Now let's shut these layers off. Let's give him red shoes. So let's click the lasso tool again, click around his shoes, click Generative Fill so it knows what area we're working with. Make his shoes red sneakers. Check, check. Come on. Come on, Generative Fill. They kind of look worse. Oh, those are Jordans! Yes! He's wearing Air Jordans. Okay, so let's merge those two layers. The Generative Fill layer. Well, select the variation that you want first of all over here on the right, as you can see the little cursor moving around. I like the one on the right, so I'm going to select that. So the Generative Fill layer with the one I want selected is selected, and then we're going to select the main picture here, and we're going to select the Generative Fill layer we want. We're going to hold Shift, and then we're going to click the main layer with our character on it. We're going to right click, and we're going to do Merge Layers. So now that's all one picture. All those layers are all together. We've still got our backup layers down below. We can get rid of those if we don't need them. It doesn't look like his cape is quite completely finished. Now we just want to save him by himself as a PNG. Back here in the Contextual taskbar for Generative Fill, let's try Select Subject. This doesn't always work great. Oh wow, it worked. Did it get all of his little hairs? Let's check all of the... We got some issues down here. What's this? Let's do here. I should explain that. So let's Control Z. We're going to check all the corners and make sure everything looks good. Everything looks good except for this shoe right here. So after we clicked Select Subject in the Contextual taskbar for Generative Fill, now we've got some options here. We're going to go over to this third option, the mask option. That's the one with the little circle inside the rectangle. We're going to left click that. Now we've got some options here. The thing I like about this is you now have the ability to add and subtract to the mask. So first of all, let's go add to mask, because you can see around the corners here, it's kind of messed up. So, okay, this ain't working, dude. Oh, it's because all my layers are, okay. This is a good lesson for me. So we've done Select Subject. Now we're going to go up here to the Contextual taskbar. We're going to click the mask, which is the third symbol over. It's the little circle inside of the rectangle. We're going to left click that. Now we have these very nice options that are add to mask and subtract from mask. So let's remember, turn off all of the layers below so you can actually see what you're working with. I keep forgetting to do this. There we go. Now we can see that he's missing some stuff on his little shoes, holding spacebar and moving around the canvas with the mouse. So you see it's missing some stuff right here. So we're going to go add to mask. Let's make our thing a little bit bigger since it's missing some of this stuff. Just go ahead and fill some of that in. I'm getting a little bit extra stuff. We can always recrop that out later if we want. Okay, that's too much. Control Z, pull it back a little bit. Okay, let's see. What else do we got here? We can decontaminate the colors later if we want to. Okay, so what's this down here? Let's go ahead and go subtract from mask and get rid of that. This is nice. I love this add and subtract from mask thing that they added. Let's make that smaller with the parentheses button. This is a very nice way to do masking. What a nice feature. Good job, Adobe. Okay, let's subtract this. This makes it much easier to clean up sometimes the AI leaves a real mess for you to clean up. And if you want to be really careful with this, you can adjust the hardness of the brush so you can leave, so it's not such a hard line. But I'm going to kind of do this rather quickly because I want to show you guys how to do this and get out of here and go have lunch. But we're removing from the mask right now. What a nice feature. This is game changer, honestly, for Photoshop. Even though it doesn't do it perfectly automatically, if you can get as granular as you want. If you want to make it absolutely perfect, you can. If you want to do it fast, you can do that too. Holding Shift to move around the canvas, get rid of some of this green. You won't even be able to see this when I'm zoomed out, but okay, so here we go. We have our little might be superhero. It's absolutely wonderful. Our mask is done. We want to export this as a PNG. Go up to the File, up on the left-hand corner, go down to Export as PNG. and then the options will pop up. That stuff's probably all gonna be fine for you. Then we're gonna go export, click that. And as I said before, I always put everything in the same folder so it's all organized in one place. We're gonna call him Super Doggy, hit return, save it as PNG. Now that's isolated. Now that we've got our PNG isolated, let's work with the stuff a little bit. Okay, so remember I duplicated those layers below just in case there was a problem. These are the duplicated layers that I did before. This is the doggy that we currently have that we just exported as its own PNG. So let's turn that one off completely. Let's duplicate a couple more of these because who knows what's gonna happen. So now we've got lots of options, but what I wanna do right now is fill in the background, okay? So we're back on one of these duplicated layers. So go up to the left-hand corner, click yourself the rectangular marquee tool, and we're going to select the rest of this area in our 1920 by 1080 canvas. Select just a little bit off of the edge and cover the entire checkerboard area there on the right side. Now, very important to add to that selection, hold shift. Hold shift and make sure you grab a little bit of the edge of that other picture. Now these are added together. Now we're gonna click Generative Fill. So we've got the marching ants outline on both sides of our doggy dog. We're gonna click Generate, and usually it'll just do it magically, deliciously on its own. Come on, Generative Fill, you got this. Ooh, that's a nice background. I don't love it, but it's good enough for our purposes. That one's good, that one's good, that one's best. I don't want it too busy in the background. This'll do. Remember what we have to do? We have to merge the two layers. Actually, before we do that, okay, so I've chosen the variation that I want from the little selection area there on the right-hand side. Let's make our doggo disappear. Let's do our object selection tool, the rectangle. Let's select our dog. Oh, that's perfect. What a perfect selection. Click on Generative Fill, and we're gonna type in remove subject and hit enter and see if it does a good job. We could go over to Firefly if we want to. Come on. I'm rolling the die in your favor. Come on, buddy. That is absolutely perfect. That is perfect. We got the background we want. We're gonna go File, Export as, Export. We're gonna go Super Doggy Background, and we'll just put linked so I know which one we're working with. So we've got our doggy, we've got our background. Let's just put those together for safekeeping. Shut off all these other layers down below with all the duplicates and stuff. Boom, there's our doggy that we want with the shoes we want. Everything's good. And then we're going to, okay, just to keep this from getting too confusing, let's go ahead and start a new project. New 1920 by 1080, since this is for a YouTube video. File, open. Everything's in the same folder. See, here's the one we started with. Here's the background, and here's our little doggo. Let's bring him in. He's already good to go. Standing there like a little champ. What should we put in his hands? Let's put, he's holding something. What is he holding? Let's click on elliptical marquee tool. Let's put in, he is holding a pizza. He'd be clutching like a milk bone, right? Oh my, it doesn't really fit. Now let's just Control Z to back out of that. To Generative Fill again. A giant biscuit. Kind of terrible. Control Z, deselect. Hit the lasso tool. Let's try this. Complete the lasso, hit Generative Fill. A red, white, and blue. What the heck? Nope, Control Z twice. Bigger shield. Generative Fill, a shield. In the contextual taskbar. We're getting there. Oh, wow. Let's hit Generate again, because those are pretty good. No, that's the best one. It's at the right angle and everything. No. This is the one that's at the right angle. What are these three little dots here? I don't think I'm going to keep it, though. Let's go deselect. Let's do elliptical marquee tool. Let's just put an ellipse here. Hit Generative Fill. Plutonium. Ooh. Let's hit Generate again. Those don't really work. Nope. Control Z. Get out of there. Lasso tool. Giant hammer. Okay, so we're going to draw a rough shape. We're going to click Generative Fill. Hammer. Let's see if that works. I bet this is going to work. It's going to look sick. Come on, little buddy. What? That's out of control. That one's pretty good. It just needs some work. That looks sick. Okay, let's merge these two layers. Click the top one. Hold Shift. Click the second one. Right click. Merge layers. Okay, so now that's all one. So let's do select subject in the contextual taskbar right up here. Again, remember, if you don't have that, just Windows, contextual taskbar. Okay, it's decent, but let's fix this area. So we're still in the contextual taskbar here. We're gonna choose the third option over. It's a circle in a rectangle. We're gonna go subtract from mask, And we're going to make our point of interest medium size, and we're going to scroll up on the mouse wheel, and we're going to move around the canvas by holding space. Let's get rid of this junk here, making it smaller. We're getting rid of this extra stuff here that does not need to be there. This is not part of our image. We're subtracting from the mask. Game changer, Adobe, good job. Let's get rid of this, whatever that is. Okay, so it needs to finish the head of the hammer. Lasso tool, okay. Click Generative Fill, the head of the hammer. Decent. I don't know why it always like tries to go off the edge. Let's merge those two layers. Click the top one, hold Shift, click the second one, right click, merge layers, boing, boing. Let's try quick selection, and we're going to go in the blue area that we don't want. We're going to hold Alt and left click that. Oh, it worked perfectly. Look at that. It went right around the outline of the hammer. Beautiful. It's starting to get a little bit confused. So sometimes you just have to do this stuff a little bit at a time. Again, little part of the mask we want removed. Hold Alt. Just to give it a little click. Sometimes it's as simple as that. And then re-add this by clicking on it. Okay, good. Perfect. It's doing some weird stuff down here, but again, this is going to be way smaller than this. Oof, we need a little bit more of this hair. Even though the color's not great at the top, doesn't matter. This is going to be like 10% of this size or 30% of this size. Okay, so we've got a good selection now. Let's do select and mask. So the hammer's not perfect, but we'll fix that. We're going to add a lot of smooth to that. In case we want to add a stroke or anything, we don't want it to be jagged. So we're going to put that on a new layer. Okay, let's get rid of that other layer. Let's see if we can fill out this hammer with the lasso tool, generative fill, finish the head of the hammer. It's kind of annoying, honestly, in some respects. Stuff that, it's typical Adobe though. They fix some stuff and then leave the rest. No. Why does it always have to go to the edge? Makes no sense. Control Z. Okay, let's just do deselect. Let's just try a little bit more. Let's try and make it like that. Finish the hammer's head. Or maybe we'll just leave it the way it is. Okay, that one's kind of better. So let's merge those two. Click the one on top, then hold Shift and click the one below, right click, merge layers, select subject. Beautiful. Oh, it did good that time. Okay, wait. There's still a little bit of improvement. You can see holding space to move around the canvas. You can see this little area right here. We don't want that. So go up to the contextual taskbar, go 3 into the mask selection tool, and we're going to go subtract from mask, and we're going to just simply parentheses, get rid of all that junk. Little junk here. Whoops. I've got it on a softer brush. Let's make it a little bit of a harder brush. Okay, that's pretty good. Export that. File, export as. Export, file, save as. Super Doggy 2. We're going to go file, close. Yes, we're going to save that. Okay, Super Doggy 1. Okay, we've never gotten to this step before, so let's figure it out together. Click on Adobe Creative Cloud. We're going to do our Premiere Pro, just a super basic animation now. So click on Premiere Pro, take a second for it to open. There are different ways to start projects, but let's try it like this. New project, and we'll call this one Super Doggy. Like I said, I always keep everything in the same folder. The interface is kind of confusing on Adobe when you're trying to import it while you're creating the thing. So let's do it this way. Let's just create the project, 1920 by 1080. Since it's for a YouTube video. Then we're going to go over here to the media area. We're going to right click on that, click on import. Everything's in the same folder. So it's this folder right here, YouTube project footage. Whatever folder you set it to, that's where your stuff is going to be. I always recommend using the same folder. I know I say that a lot, but the files we want here, I want Super Doggy with hammer, hold Control, Super Doggy with hammer 2, I don't remember the difference between the two, the Super Doggy background and the main Super Doggy, and we're going to click open. That will pull all the stuff into your project. So let's pull in the background. Let's pull in Super Doggy with hammer. Let's just say this is the introduction screen. So let's move our little guy down a little bit by hitting the Y coordinate in the effects controls area. Let's make him stand out from the background a little bit. Let's go down here and click effects, and we're going to type drop shadow. So put drop shadow on the Ultra Doggy, Super Doggy layer. You've got your drop shadow options here. I like to always put the opacity up to 100% to start with, and then go distance so I can actually see the shadow. I like the shadow coming from the top left and going down to the right. Add a little bit of softness. Boom, 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 boom. Just a little bit. That's probably too much. And then we bring the opacity back down so it does not look ridiculous. And then we bring the distance down. The direction's not quite right. Let's do like that. Distance a little bit more. Opacity a little bit less. For now, let's hide the doggy layer. Right over here, just click the eye. Now we've got our background layer. So let's just keep this very, very simple. Let's go to transform down here in the bottom left. Let's bring transform onto this layer below. Now in your transform options, I'm going to start out by clicking position, clicking scale, click the little stopwatch to the left there. And we're going to unclick use compositions. I don't know what the rest of that says, but we're going to unclick that and we're going to max that out. We've got everything keyframed out at the beginning. Let's move over to the end and then back click one. So you're still on that layer. And let's increase the scale there to 150. You can just type it in if you want. So now it's kind of doing a close up on the background. So let's go and see how that looks. With the shutter angle at maximum here at 360, it'll add a little bit of nice motion blur. That's always nice. So we're zooming in, 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 boom, boom. Uncheck the eyeball here on the left-hand side. So now it just looks like he's standing there. Okay, so what we want to do is make it look like he's coming in from the side with his hammer. So again, we're going to go over here to transform on the left-hand side. Let's hide the background layer now. Okay, let's put that same transform effect on our dog. So pull transform over onto him there. And we're going to do right click, scale to frame size. Now that's a huge thing because the anchor point gets all messed up if you don't scale to frame size. So we want, if we're going to scale, we want it to just get bigger or smaller. We don't want it to go off to the right or off to the left. So always remember, scale to frame size if you're going to use transform once you bring your PNGs into the project. Okay, we've got transform on. What do we want him to do? Let's have him come on from the left-hand side and just boldly stand there. So we've already scaled the frame size. We're going over here to position to the X coordinate and we're going to put it over to the left. Keep going until there's just a tiny tip showing. If you make it go all the way off the board, Premiere Pro gets confused. So just leave it so a little bit of the shadow is on right there. Okay, so that's our starting point. Since we've already scaled the frame size, we can ignore this anchor point option. Click the position, click the little stopwatch to the left of position. We're going to click scale. Just in case we want to scale him later, we might not. We might. And maybe you want to use skew later, so if you want to use it, think ahead. Maybe we'll want to use rotation later. Think ahead. Click all those. We're going to uncheck the use composition box and we're going to put shutter angle at 360. We might change that later. At the beginning of this clip, he's just on the left side of the frame. Once we get to about right here, boom, we want him to be about in the center of the frame. So I'm going to click the center of the frame. I'm going to go up to view and I've got my guide template set up to show rule of thirds. Boom. So this is going to be roughly in the middle here. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you want to create a guide, simply go up here to view, add guide, and then put your values in here. If you want it 50-50, you can do that, etc. At this point, this is where we want him to be standing firmly in the center. So let's move the position over here. It's going to automatically do a keyframe for you. We're moving the X coordinate. Whoops. Moving the X coordinate until it gets here. So let's see how that looks. Zooming into the background. Boom. Once he gets to boom, let's add a couple of scale keyframes. So we're going to click on scale and we're just going to go bink, 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 bink. We'll add 107. So he's going to grow a little bit as he's coming in to kind of boom, draw attention to him. Okay. So now let's make him kind of walk a little bit as he's coming in. So we're going to go over here, if I can get this bigger. Make your canvas a little bit bigger in the effects controls. I don't know if canvas is the right word, but... So now he's coming in, but he's just sliding in. We want him to sort of rotate. We already clicked our first keyframe for rotate. You can tell because it's blue. So let's go just a few frames in. Let's add some rotation. 1, 2. And then let's click a frame at a time. Let's go 3 frames forward by this little move one keyframe button here below the canvas. 1, 2, 3. And then let's reset that rotation keyframe. And then let's do 1, 2, 3. Let's do 3. Let's do down 3, and then 3 frames, and then go reset, and then go 3 frames, and then go down 3 frames. Let's see how that looks just to start with. Okay, that's pretty good. Now here's a little trick for you. We're gonna highlight all of those keyframes we just did on rotation, except for the first one. We don't need that one. See how they're all blue now? We're gonna right click those, and we're gonna do copy, and then we're gonna move over here, and we're gonna do Control V to paste. So we don't have to do all those keyframes over again. So let's see how he looks. That looks great. Okay, we're gonna highlight all those blue keyframes. We're gonna hold Alt, and we're gonna slide these over here. That's another way you can do it. Might even be better. Let's see how that looks. 1, 2, 3, boom. Okay, so we're gonna highlight all those keyframes. We're gonna right click, and we're going to go down to Ease In to start with. Let's see how that looks. That's gonna make the motion a little bit more smooth, the temporal interpolation. Oh yeah, okay, he's a little bit janky on his walk. That's fine though. Again, we're gonna highlight all of those by drawing a square around them, right click, and we're gonna go Ease Out. Boing, boing. Oh, it works perfectly with his hammer. He's got like the hammer power. Goosh. We'll make this into his introduction screen. He's at the spot we want. Click on the bottom, the background layer, the bottom one. Let's click on the bottom layer, the background here, and let's just extend that out. Let's see how that looks. Can I extend this one too? Boom. Okay. Dog comes in. Okay, now let's make him say something. Click the T over here, just to the left of the canvas, in all caps. So we're gonna left click the selection tool, hold shift to hold your ratios, and make that doesn't work. You don't need to hold shift, I guess. Make this bigger. Some tools over here. This is Essential Graphics. If you don't have Essential Graphics, go Window, down to Essential Graphics. Let's make sure they're centered. Boom, boom. But we also need to make the text center and align, so hit that thing down there. I don't know what that's called. It's in the text section. And then just make sure it's centered vertically and horizontally. Okay, that's not gonna look good, so let's hit text again. Put it right after the R in dog, hit enter, undo the caps lock if you want, and then we're gonna hit move, the little arrow there. I am hammer dog. So let's click the little safe margins thing in the bottom so we don't make the text too big. And we're going to put that in dead center. Then we're gonna go over here to Essential Graphics. We're gonna go text, because I don't like whatever Times New Roman or whatever it's using right now. So let's choose something else. Let's do something popular. Let's do bangers. I am hammer dog. Okay, so down here in the appearance, we're gonna go fill. We're gonna go blue, I think. Have a nice bright blue. And for the stroke, we're gonna do a nice, should be red. Oh, that's a little bit putrid. Yuck. I am hammer dog. Okay, let's cut off the end. Let's put it on repeat. Let's take off the safe margins. Boom, I am hammer dog. So we've got a very simple animation here, but I think it works. Let's add some sound. I use Epidemic sound, dubstep, dubstep. My Epidemic link is in the description if you want. Let's pull that in. Boom, it's always gonna be way too long. Double click there to the left-hand side. I just wanna get to the drop and play it with spacebar. Let's add an explosion. I want a free one, obviously. Shutterstock, never use that. They always charge you. Oh, let's do Pexels. Pexels rocks, it's free. These are all trash so far. Pixabay maybe? Okay, click download. Those are free. Pexels and Pixabay is where I get a lot of stuff. Click on the canvas, hit Control N to create a different sequence, 1920 by 1080, explosion. We'll isolate the explosion. We're gonna go to our downloads folder. We're gonna click folder. We'll just pull that right straight into our sequence. Skoosh! It looks fakey, but who cares? Oh well, you know what? The top's cut off. Big deal, doesn't matter. Okay, we're gonna scale this up and we're gonna use the motion to scale this bad boy up to the top. Boom! So we don't care. Let's bring it down a little bit. Boosh! We want to get rid of the black background, so let's check opacity. Click blend mode over here on the left-hand side, and we're going to do screen. Screen will get rid of that black portion, and it will brighten the explosion part. Boom! Hopefully. So let's just check to see if it's transparent or not. We're going to go down here into the project area. We're going to do color matte. Click OK. whatever. Let's do it like that color right there. Doesn't matter. Click OK. We're going to pull that underneath the explosion to see if it's transparent or not. Okay, that's transparent, so we'll get rid of that. We're going to click on our explosion. We're going to right click and do copy. We're going to pull it back over here in our doggo layer. Just put it at the very end. Control V to make it come into the project. Let's see how it looks so far. I'll show you where I get a lot of my stuff here. My free instance, explosion, zoom in kind of on his face, okay? He's a bad, bad doggy, and he gets it done. So what we want to do here is, by the end of the track here, I want his face to be big and in the middle of the screen. So hitting down, we're going to go back 1 frame by using the frame move button here. That's just a quick trick to make sure you're on the right frame. So position, we're going to use the X coordinate and bring him down to here. Again, let's find out where the middle is by clicking on the canvas. You got to click on the canvas and then hit guide templates again. I should do another video to show you the rule of thirds template. So now we're at the very end here. By this point, we want to scale it up because we want his big old face to be in the middle, right? We want to find out his personality. So apply default transitions to it. And let's add a little bit of transition to that. Right click, apply default transitions. One more final thing. We're clicked on this super dog layer. You see it's highlighted with blue. Hit down on your keyboard, back 1. I want to make it pause on this frame here at the end. So let's go down to the end and then left click and let's extend this layer out a little bit. So it's just on his face and his voice will be like tilde key. So you've got full screen. Here we go. If you have any questions about this process, let me know. I'm going to keep doing some more of these tutorials until everybody knows what I know. Have a great day. Make sure to hit the like button, and here you go. 6 seconds long. Oh, let's do the export really quick. File. Actually, let's send media encoder. If you've got Adobe, then you've got this. Click the play button. It's going to more quickly encode that. We'll put it on maybe YouTube Shorts or something. Don't forget to save your project. You can close your project at any time. Control S. Bye, guys.
And I'm angry.